quickly we'll take a look at what we have on the quotes for the day. But my name is Modot Dominic, and with me are my wonderful co-hosts.
Good morning, Modot.
Wait, you didn't even allow me to introduce you. You just took it from me. So were you prepared for me today?
Yourself, so and so.
Okay.
And before you could, get into it, I want.
Okay. I guess you just wanted me to notice the part that you just have a new tie, and apparently it's actually looking good on you.
Wow. Honestly,
it's so looking good on you.
It's possibly 5 years old.
So how come I'm just noticing it? Okay, away from that, let me come to you, White.
I smell barbecue.
Okay, you're always smelling something. So what is it this time?
Good morning, Lagos. Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, world. It is Cactv worldwide, and we are here for the morning dew this morning. Oh, wow. This morning, in fact, a lot is happening. Exactly,
a lot. There's so much to talk about. We'll bring to you the juicy and the most interesting news that you need to know. So please stay tuned. We'll go on a quick break, and when we come back, we'll let you know what is happening currently right now. As it is, there is so much going on, but let me not unleash it until we come back after this break. Please stay tuned. Yes, welcome back from that quick break. Okay, so White, you said you have so much to tell us, so let me hear from you.
Yes, we have so much this morning. It's a beautiful morning, Wednesday morning, the 6th of September 2023. Everywhere in the world, in the whole federation right now in Nigeria, we all have one thing that we are looking at, and that is the verdict of the tribunal happening live right now as we speak. And today we'll be going, bringing you highlights, bringing you and connecting you to the proceedings as things unfold at the tribunal this morning. Yes, and that is what we have for you this morning. So all the candidates are ready, the supporters are ready. Heavy security is mounted at the court premises right now to maintain law and order and peace. So we'll be bringing you live reports, and we'll also be connecting you with the tribunal proceedings. Okay, so away from that, let's take our quote for the day. Bishop, could you help us?
So the quote for the day from the book of Romans chapter 8 and verse 28. I think we've used it, we take it once, and we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are called according to his purpose. All things work together for good, particularly for this country. Whatever is happening right now in Nigeria is according to the purpose of God. You see, God doesn't lead backward, he leads forward. And for a country like Nigeria to go forward, we have to have this exercise. Exactly. The tribunal is going on. You are busy doing something at your work. We are busy here doing our work. So everybody, we are called to do one thing or the other. Please, we are all called to. Yes. We are all called to do one thing or the other. And what you are called to do is to do good, not evil. It's to be faithful, not to be unfaithful. It's to be righteous, not to be unrighteous. And, let me add to it by saying, have confidence that God orchestrates every aspect of your life for a greater purpose. On this note, I say, God bless you.
All right, thank you so much. Everything works together for the good of them that love God. And trust us, we are lovers of Christ. And we trust that this ongoing verdict would end well, and there won't be any cause for chaos, and then, I just pray that God gives the judges the grace to do the right thing, to say the right thing and do the right thing when need be. Okay, so away from that, let's look at the story that we have making news around the globe. So first we'll start with the Punch newspaper. And the first news making the headlines is still that which is ongoing. So let's take a look at it. And this says presidential poll. Every security as tribunal decides Atiku Obi's petitions against Tinubu. Police block entrance to court of appeal, warns politicians against violence. 5 justices decide Atiku Obi's petitions today. Security agents patrol Abuja. There was every security deployment at the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal and other flashpoints and dark spots in Abuja on Tuesday ahead of the delivery of the judgment on the election petitions challenging the election of President Bola Tinubu on Wednesday. And that's what we are currently facing right now. So we'll be bringing you updates as that unfolds. This was as the supporter of the People Democratic Party standard bearer, Atiku Abubakar, Labour Party candidate Peter Obi, and President Tinubu await the verdict with earnest expectations. And that's the first story that we have on the Punch newspaper. You know, I'm so glad that we have all of this security personnel put in place and making sure that, you know, the place is well guarded, because one of the things that makes sure, you know, some people which are the bad people always make sure that they find means to which they would not, you know, they'll have to postpone whatever it is that is going on. You know, they'll always have to be something. So I am so glad that there is security personnel put in place to make sure that everything goes well. And I also pray that, you know, that our politicians, you know, everyone who is in the court at the moment will also maintain peace and not go. You know, there was a clip one time in the House of Assembly where, you know, you see all these men carrying chairs and eating themselves and doing all of that. Okay, so we are told that we quickly need to take a look at what is going on in the court. So please stay tuned and let's watch this clip together. Let's go live.
Of the first schedule to the Electoral Act 2022. The said paragraph to the Electoral Act stipulates that, I quote, if a person in his reply to the election petition raises new issues or facts in defense of his case, which the petition has not dealt with, the petitioner shall be entitled to file in the registry within 5 days from the receipt of the respondent's reply a petitioner reply in answer to the new issues of fact, so that A, the petitioner shall not at this stage be entitled to bring in new facts, grounds or prayers tending to amend or add to the contents of the petition filed by him, and B, the petitioner reply does not run counter to the provisions of paragraph 14.1. In my view, the provisions of paragraph 16.1 of the first schedule to the Electoral Act 2022 are clear, unequivocal and unambiguous. It does not, therefore, require any technical rule of interpretation to understand or to be understood. From a holistic reading of that provision, it will be seen that it is meant to explain the purpose of a petitioner's reply to the respondent's reply. Its purpose is to raise answers to the defense or any fact which must be specifically pleaded and which have the effect of destroying the respondent's defense or make it not maintainable. The bottom line is that a petitioner is permitted by the first schedule to the Electoral Act 2022 to file a reply while the respondent to the petition has in his reply raised new issues of fact in the defense, which fact the petitioner has not dealt with in the petition. However, in doing so, the petitioner reply shall not introduce new facts, grounds, or prayers tending to amend or add to the contents of the petition. I've cited the case of APC and PDP. Citations apply. It is therefore clear that paragraph 16.1 of the first schedule to the Electoral Act does not permit a petitioner in his reply to introduce or bring in any new issue or fact which ought to have been raised in the petition itself. In other words, a petitioner cannot, in the guise of a reply to a respondent's reply, introduce a new issue or fact which was never raised in his petition nor raised by the respondent. To do that will amount to amending or adding to the petition and also taking the respondent by surprise, because at that stage the respondent will not be in a position to react to such new issues or facts. It will therefore breach the respondent's fundamental right to fair hearing. Therefore, the petitioner is not permitted to repair or rehash his averments in the petition in such a way that it will amount to an amendment or restructuring or a reconstruction of the petition. See the case of Dingyadi and Wamako citation supply. With the state of the law as stated above at the back of my mind, I have endeavored to scrutinize the pleadings in the respondent's respective replies to the petition, vis-a-vis the specific paragraphs of the petitioner replies complaint of. I start with the first respondent complaint. The first respondent complaint is against paragraph 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 15 of petitioner reply. I have carefully studied those paragraphs of petitioner reply. It is my view that paragraphs 1, 6, 7, 8, 12, and 14 of petitioner reply to the first respondent reply are competent, as they are proper replies to the first respondent's reply. However, paragraphs 2, 3, 4, 5, 9, 10, 11, 13, and 15 of the said petitioner reply are not competent, as they are either rehashed or facts pleaded in the petition, or they introduce and or add new facts to the petition. Being incompetent, they are hereby struck out. The complaint of the second respondent is against paragraph first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, sub 1, 2, 3, and 4. 4 and 5, sorry, 18, 19, 20, 21, 23, 24, and 25, part B of the petition reply to the second respondent's reply to the petition. I have carefully considered those paragraphs in the light of paragraph 16(1)(a) and (b) of the first schedule to the Electoral Act 2022. It is settled law that where a respondent raises in his reply to the petition fresh or new issues, it will be necessary for the petitioner to file a reply to the respondent's reply to the petition. At that stage, the petitioner may also file further written statements on oath of witnesses he may wish to call in rebuttal of the new issues raised by the respondent. This is because any failure by the petitioner to reply or answer to those new issues raised by the respondent will be deemed that the petitioner has conceded to such fresh or new issues. The cases of Idris and AMPP, Dingyadi and Wamako were also cited. That being so, the written statements on oath of witnesses filed along with the petitioner reply to the respondent reply and proof of paragraphs struck out are accordingly struck out. In my view, paragraphs 1, 2, the paragraph listed with the petitioner reply to second respondent reply to the petition are either rehashed of paragraphs in the petition or introduced or added new facts to the petition. They are incompetent and accordingly struck out. I am also of the view that paragraphs 1, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 20 of the petition reply to third and fourth respondent reply to the petition the height of the environments in the petition. They are in my view incompetent and accordingly struck out. This other motion filed by the first respondent on the 7th of May 2023 seeking the following relief. 1. An order of this Honorable Court striking out the petition for being incompetent and an abuse of court process. The grounds of filing the motion have been produced. The motion is supported by 6 paragraphs affidavit because by 1 gives more detail the litigation secretary in the law firm of Dipko and Mahmoud collected to the first respondent applicant. It is also accompanied by a written address filed in support of the motion. In response, the petitioner filed a counter affidavit on the 14th of May 2023 consisting of seven paragraphs deposited by 1 Kalu Kenneth Okorie, litigation secretary in the law firm of Mrs. O.M. Atoyo B.S.N. and Partners. A written address was also filed along with the counter affidavit. I considered the arguments of counsel on this motion. The third and fourth respondents also filed a similar motion on 12th of May 2023. Therein, the third and fourth respondent prayed for an order of this honorable court striking out and or dismissing this petition for being incompetent, fundamentally defective, and vesting no jurisdiction on this honorable court to adjudicate thereon. The grounds for the petition have been listed. In this motion, several grounds were raised. Now it is apparent that the sole ground of this petition is centered on the qualification of the second respondent. The issue of qualification or disqualification of a candidate to contest an election for the office of President of Nigeria is a constitutional one. That is why it is stipulated in section 134, subsection 1A of the Electoral Act 2022 that an election may be questioned on any of the following grounds. A person whose election is questioned was, at the time of the election, not qualified to contest the election. The qualifications and or disqualifications of the candidate to contest an election for the office of president are stipulated in section 131 and 137 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended. While the qualifications are ingrained in section 131, the disqualifications are ingrained in section 137, subsection 1A to J of the Constitution, Sutra. It is apparent, therefore, that the issue of qualification of the candidate to contest an election could be a ground in an election petition, though it may also ground a pre-election matter, where such issue of qualification or disqualification of candidate arises from the primary election of the party by virtue of section 285, subsection 14 of the Constitution. Where the issue of qualification or disqualification arises before the election, it is an election, a pre-election matter, and an action on that issue must be instituted pursuant to section 285, section 11 and 14 of the Constitution. It should be noted that upon a quick and careful perusal of the pleadings and in the petition, the issue of disqualification of the first respondent rests solely on the issue of the alleged invalid nomination of his running mate with the third respondent. The issue of invalid nomination is captured by paragraphs 18, 19, 20, and 21 of the petition. For proper understanding of the facts pleaded, those paragraphs have been reproduced. The second arm of that issue is captured in paragraph 22, 23, 24, and 25, and 26 of the petition. But, considering the facts pleaded above, it is clear that the claim of disqualification or non-qualification non-qualification of third respondent is centered solely on the invalid or double nomination of the fourth respondent. However, it is the settled law that the issue of nomination of a candidate at an election is a pre-election matter. Therefore, the issue of qualification or disqualification can only be ventilated on the grounds enumerated in section 131 or 137 of the Constitution. That is why section 84, subsection 3 of the Electoral Act 2022 stipulates that a political party shall not impose nomination qualification or disqualification criteria, measures, or conditions on any aspirant or candidate for any election in its constitution, guidelines, or rules for nomination of candidates for election, except as prescribed under Section 65, 66, 106, 107, 131, 137, 177, and 185 of the Constitution. 187. It therefore means that the conditions of qualification or disqualification are prescribed by, under Section 131 and 137 in case of person contesting for office of president. That means that why it is alleged in an election petition that a person is or was not qualified to contest election to the office of President of Nigeria, as stipulated in Section 134, subsection 1A of the Electoral Act 2022. It is Sections 131 and 137 of the Constitution of Nigeria that are applicable. See the cases of PDP and ANEC, Kaki and PDP, Ucha and Unwe, and Captain Idris, Chalawada and others, versus Yahya Bello and others, all citations supplied. That's why election has been conducted and result declared. Such election cannot be questioned on grounds of qualification under Sections 131 and 137 of the Constitution in the case of a presidential election. This postulation is supported by Section 134, subsection 3 of the Electoral Act, where it is stipulated that with respect to subsection 1A, a person is deemed to be qualified for an elective office, and his election shall not be questioned on grounds of qualification if, with respect to the particular election in question, he meets the applicable requirements of Section 65, 106, 137, or 177 of the Constitution, and he is not, as may be applicable in brief of Section 66, 107, 137, or 182 of the Constitution. As stated earlier, the applicable provisions are Section 131 and 137 of the Constitution. It is clear from the plenitude of the pleadings in this petition that the facts grounding the petition's claim of disqualification or non-qualification of the third and fourth respondent is seen on double and invalid nomination of the first respondent. I had pointed out earlier in the course of this ruling that the issue of qualification or disqualification of a candidate at an election is strictly a requirement of the Constitution. That it was held in the case of Al-Hassan and another versus Ishaku and others that even supplied a court by virtue of the provisions of Section 138 sub 1A of the Electoral Act. The tribunal's power to decide whether a person is qualified to contest an election is restricted to establishing the requirements of Section 177 and 182 of the Constitution against the adverse party. An election tribunal has no jurisdiction to inquire into the primaries of a political party. Close of court. It is apparent, therefore, that issues of nomination or sponsorship of candidates by political parties come under pre-election matters and should be disputed and determined before the conduct of the election. Shinkasi and others versus Yari and others, Ella and others versus Abu. That being so, a ground of election petition questioning the election of person duly qualified to contest such election as required by the Constitution cannot be sustained, where it is predicated on nomination or sponsorship of such candidate. Therefore, a petitioner who relies on the non-qualification of his opponent to nullify the election must bring the facts of such non-qualification within the ambit of Section 131 and 137 of the 1999 Constitution. I have noted that the petitioner respondent sought to tie his complaint of non-qualification to Section 142(1) of the 1999 Constitution. That provision stipulates as follows. I quote, in any election to which the foregoing provision of this part of this chapter relate, a candidate for an election to the office of president shall not be deemed to be validly nominated unless he nominates another candidate as his associate from the same political party for his running for the office of president, who is to occupy the office of vice president, and that candidate shall be deemed to have been duly elected to the office of vice president if the candidate for election to the office of president who nominated him as such associate is duly elected as president in accordance with the provisions of aforesaid. I am of the view that the above cited provision of the Constitution does not create additional qualifications or disqualifications for a candidate contesting for the office of President of Nigeria. Furthermore, Section 142 of the 1919 Constitution, read along with Section 141 of the said Constitution, create the office of President and Vice President. Section 142(1) is a specific provision donating power to the President to nominate a person as his associate to occupy the office of the President. That is why subsection 2 of Section 142 mandates that the requirements of qualification and disqualification attaching to the occupier of seat of President also applies to the holder of the office of Vice President. It is therefore my view that Section 142, subsection 1 of the Constitution does not introduce the issue of nomination or sponsorship of Vice President so as to enlarge the scope of qualifications or disqualifications applicable to the seat of President. There cannot therefore be a disqualifying factor of a candidate for the office of President outside those specified in Section 131 and 137 of the Constitution. It can safely be said that those provisions have sufficiently and conclusively covered the seal until there is an amendment to the Constitution. See the cases of ADIA and AD Federation, also PDP and ANIC Super. As a follow-up to my findings above, I hold the firm view that the issue of nomination of sponsor of correspondence, being a pre-election matter, ought to have been ventilated by the petitioner before the Federal High Court, as this court has no jurisdiction to delve into the matter. Even if this court has such jurisdiction, the course of action being a pre-election matter is started by virtue of Section 285, Section 9 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended. Having found as above, it is my view that the two motions filed by the first respondent and third and fourth respondents on 7 May 2023 and 12 May 2023 respectively have no merit. Accordingly, I find that the petition is have merit. Accordingly, I find that the petition is liable to be struck out for being incompetent. By a motion on notice filed on the 8th of May 2023, the second respondent, the applicant, sought the following relief. An order of this Honorable Tribunal granting leave to the second respondent applicant to bring and argue this application before, from outside or during the pre-hearing session. 2. An order of this Honorable Tribunal striking up grounds 1 and 2 contained in paragraph 16 of the petition for being incompetent. 3. An order of the Honorable Tribunal striking out paragraph 17, 18, 19, 20 to 29 of the petition, which are predicated on the incompetent grounds 1 and 2 in paragraph 16 of the petition for being an abuse of court process. And 4. An order of this tribunal striking up release 1 to 7 of the petition for being incongruous, illogical, and ungrantable. And 5. An order of the Honorable Tribunal dismissing or otherwise striking out the petition for one of jurisdiction and on the ground that the petition does not disclose any reasonable course of action. If the grounds stated here is, and I've considered the arguments of counsel which I've summarized in it. Really, it will be seen that this application is premised on several grounds. The first is that the grounds of the petition are incompetent. This is premised on the erroneous argument of the second respondent or applicant that the grounds for the petition are as stated in paragraphs 16 of the petition. The careful perusal of the petition will disclose that there is only one ground for the petition and is stated in paragraph 15 of the petition as follows: that your petitioner states that the ground upon which this petition is presented is that the third respondent was at the time of the election not qualified to contest the election. The averments in paragraph 16 as unequivocal caption deal with the facts of the petition. This ground for the objection to the contents of this petition therefore lacks substance and is accordingly discountenanced. The second ground for the objection is that the petition is an abuse of court process. It is premised on the fact that the petitioner respondent had earlier instituted an action before the Federal High Court in suit number FHC/ABJ/CS for 1215/2022 between Allied People's Movement and INEC and 12 others on the same subject matter as in this petition against the first, second, third, and fourth respondents in this petition and others. It was, however, deposed in paragraph 3M of the current affidavit filed by the petitioner in opposition to this application that the matter was not determined on the merit by the trial court, who referred the matter to the Court of Appeal for interpretation. That in any case, the matter had since lapsed in 180 days for determination by law, being a pre-election matter. It is tried law that abuse of court or judicial process simply means the use of a court process malafide or in bad faith to the annoyance of the opponent. One variety of it is the institution of multifarious actions between the same parties with regard to the same subject matter and same issue in the same or another court. A quick look at the originating summons in suit number FHC/ABJ/CS1275/2022 will show that same was instituted in the Federal High Court, Abuja, on 27th day of July 2022. Being a pre-election matter, it ought to have been determined within 180 days, as required by Section 285, subsection 10 of the 1999 Constitution. It therefore means that it lapsed by January 2023, about a month the election in question was conducted. This petition having been instituted on the 20th of March 2023, when suit number FHC was no more alive, does not qualify as an abuse of court process. This ground for this objection is also contentious. On whether this petition is caught by the doctrine of estoppel, it was argued that the issues raised in this petition have been firmly resolved by the Court of Appeal in Appeal number CS/ABJ/CS/08/2022. Issue estoppel arises when the issue has been decided upon to finality by a court of competent jurisdiction. In other words, once an issue has been raised and distinctly determined between the parties, another party can be allowed to fight that issue all over again. The same issue cannot be raised by other party again in the same or subsequent proceedings except in special circumstances. For issue estoppel to apply, the following conditions must be satisfied. A, the question must have decided, the same question must have been decided in both proceedings. B, the decision which creates the estoppel must be final, and the parties to the judicial decision or their previous to the proceedings in which the estoppel is raised must be the same. To determine whether the above three elements exist, the court will closely examine the reasons for the judgment and other relevant facts that were actually in issue in the proceeding. See the cases of Oyekola and others versus Amodu, OSPM Limited versus Nibel Company Nigeria Limited, and Dasuki Retired versus Federal Power Nigeria Sanitation Supply. I have studied the case sought to be relied on as estoppel in this case. It is apparent that the parties in that case are not the same as in the instant petition. The issues, though the same, were not resolved to finality in the previous case. The action was struck out on ground of lack of local standard by the lower court, which this court affirmed on appeal. Thus, the objection on that ground is also discontinued. On whether the question is statute barred, I had held in the earlier motion filed by the first respondent on 7th May 2023 and third and fourth respondent's motion filed on 12th May 2023, which were taken together. This petition, which is premised on the nomination of sponsor of the fourth respondent, is a pre-election matter. That being a pre-election matter, it ought to have been instituted and ventilated by the petitioner before the Federal High Court within 14 days from the date of occurrence of the event or action complained of. That not having been done, the course of action in this petition stands barred by virtue of Section 2859 of the 1992 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended. On the issue of local standing, I have also held in the previous motions filed on 7/5/23 and 12/5/23 that issues of nomination or sponsorship of candidates by political parties for an election come under pre-election matters. It is settled that the issue of nomination of candidates by succession is purely a pre-election matter. The only person with the local standing to challenge the nomination is an aspirant who participated in the process of such nomination. In other words, apart from an aspirant who took part in the primary election, no other person is authorized to challenge such nomination by a political party to an election. Such process of challenging the nomination is sanctioned by Section 84, Subsection 14 of the Electoral Act 22 and 285, Section 14 of the Constitution. Cactv and another versus Abdul Aziz Ayari and Al Hassan another and Ishaku. It therefore follows that the course of action in this petition, which is rooted in the nomination or sponsor of the fourth respondent, is a pre-election matter. Being a pre-election matter, the petitioner herein has no local standing to challenge or question such nomination or sponsorship of the fourth respondent by the second respondent. Thus, in People's Democratic Party (PDP) and Independent National Electoral Commission and others, unreported decision of the Supreme Court delivered on 26th day of May 2022 in SC/CV/501/2022. I had the matter has been reported, but I have not been able to avail myself of the report. Held at the Supreme Court held at page 71 page 31 lines 1 to 16 thereof as follows. Court, the provision does not make the filing of pre-election matters by political parties an all-comers affair. It is not the purpose of the provision that the floodgate of pre-election litigation be open to political parties who will hide under it to challenge the action or inaction of rival political parties under the guise of challenging the decision or activities of INEC. The application of Section 285, Section 14C of the Constitution does not extend to a political party poking into the affairs of another. The position of the law has always been that no political party can challenge the nomination of the candidate of another political party, no matter how pained or disgruntled a political party is with the way and manner another political party is conducting or has conducted its affairs concerning its nomination of its candidates for any position. It must keep mum and remain an onlooker, for it lacks the local standing to challenge such nomination in court, close of court. It is clear, therefore, that a political party such as the petitioner herein only has the local standing to file a pre-election matter when the situation affects it or its candidate by virtue of Section 285, Section 14C of the 1999 Constitution. That being so, as in the instant petition, where the grounds of the petition is rooted on the nomination or sponsorship of the candidate of another political party, this petitioner will have no local standing to institute the action, be it in the Federal High Court or an election tribunal. For that reason, it is my view that the course of action in this petition being on the nomination and sponsorship of the third and fourth respondent by the second respondent applicant, petition is incompetent for lack of local standing on the petition to institute the action. It is also liable to be struck out for being incompetent. The second respondent applicant also contended that the petition is not properly constituted as the candidate sponsored by the petitioner has not been joined as co-petitioner in the petition. The short answer to that is that Section 133, Section 1B of the Electoral Act 2022 entitles a petition as a political party to institute an election petition. The applicant has not referred us to any provision of the Electoral Act or any authority that mandates the political party to file an election petition only when its candidate has been joined as a co-petitioner. It is true that it is proper for the candidate of the party to be so joined, but there is no law that compels the political party to join its candidates in the petition. After all, the purpose of such joinder is so that the candidate can be bound by any judgment or order of the court or tribunal, but any non-joinder would not invalidate the petition. This is particularly so when Section 133, Subsection 1 of the Electoral Act stipulates, I quote, an election petition may be presented by one or more of the following persons: A, a candidate in an election, or B, a political party which participated in the election. By the use of the disjunctive word "or," it means that an election petition may be filed by the candidate alone, or the political party alone, or both of them. The objection on this ground is also discontinued. Another motion filed on the 15th of May 2023, the fifth respondent, thus Kabir Masari, prayed this court to grant him the following reliefs. 1. An order of district court dismissing this petition in its entirety for one of jurisdiction. 2. An order striking out the name of the fifth respondent applicant from this petition for non-disclosure of any reasonable course of action against him. And first, other orders as this honorable court may deem fit to make in the circumstances. The grounds for the application have been stated. I've also considered the submissions of counsel. Now, Section 133. Section 133 of the Electoral Act defines persons who are necessary parties in an election petition. Generally, necessary respondents in an election petition are the persons whose election or return is complained of and the electoral body that conducted the election. See Section 133, subsection 2 and 3 of the Electoral Act 2022. Those are what are termed statutory respondents. It should be remembered that election petitions are sui generis, and its procedure is strictly regulated by statute. That's why a person does not fall within the category of statutory respondent. They are not necessary parties in an election petition. See the cases of Akbere and Nimra, Buhari and Yusuf, APC and PDP. That's in Waziri versus Gaidam. The Supreme Court held a court. From the above, I have no difficulty in going along with the submissions of the respective counsel for the respondent that Section 137, sub 2 and 3 of the Electoral 2020 has no room for the joinder of the fifth respondent who neither won the election nor performed any role as electoral officer or agent of the third respondent in the election petition, challenging the result of such an election. And even no relief was claimed against the said fifth respondent, and indeed he had nothing to gain or lose in the petition aforesaid. Close of court. Indeed, a holistic reading of the facts of this petition does not disclose any complaint against the fifth respondent. The only fact that relates to the fifth respondent relevant to the petition is the act of withdrawal of his candidacy as the running mate of the third respondent. That is an act that occurred within the election period, therefore cannot amount to any act done by the fifth respondent at the election. It cannot therefore ground any complaint by the petitioner against the fifth respondent in an election petition. It may be relevant in a pre-election matter, but not in an election petition. It is therefore my finding that there is no any claim on the fifth respondent. In other words, the relief sought in the petition will not in any way affect the fifth respondent, as he did not participate in the petition either as a candidate or agent of the second respondent, and no declaration was made in his favor by the fifth respondent. In that respect, I hold that the objection of the fifth respondent on this ground has merit. Accordingly, I order that the name of the fifth respondent be struck out of this petition. These are the rulings in respect of the petition number 4. I will now go to the main petition itself. So, after the pre-hearing session, hearing on the petition opened and closed on the 21st of June 2023, the petitioner called one witness and closed his case. None of the respondents called any witness, but tendered some documents from the bar, and the petition was adjourned for adoption of written addresses. Parties then filed on served written addresses as directed by this court, and same were adopted on the 14th of July 2023. The matter was then adjourned for judgment. The first respondent's written address was filed on the 30th of June 2023. Therein, 4 issues were raised for determination as follows. 1. Whether considering the facts of the petition and evidence laid thereon, the petitioner has the locus standi to question the nomination of the first respondent as a ground of challenging the qualification and stand of the third respondent as the winner of the presidential election of 26 February 2023. 2. Whether having regard to the facts pleaded and evidence laid thereon, vis-a-vis the provision of Section 134, subsection 3 of the Electoral Act 2022, can the issue of validity of the nomination of the first respondent as the vice president candidate of second respondent be validly raised as a ground before this honorable court to question or challenge the qualification and return of the third respondent as the winner of the presidential election of 26 February 2023. Number 3. If the answer to note 2 is in the affirmative, whether having regard to the facts pleaded, the nomination of the first respondent as the vice president candidate of the second respondent is void, as to render the third respondent not qualified to contest the presidential election of 26 February 2023. 4. Whether considering the relief sought as per the petition accrues no utilitarian benefit to the petitioner, this petition not an abuse of court process. Well, to save time, all the other respondents filed briefs and raised issues. These issues have been introduced in this judgment, including the issues raised by the petitioner. It is apparent from the averments in the petition, the oral and documentary evidence, and the submissions of counsel that this petition is grounded on the disqualification of the third respondent to have contested the presidential election of 26 February 2023. This is evident in paragraph 15 of the petition, wherein the petitioner pleaded thus. I had read it earlier. This is further explained as emanating from the non-qualification of the first respondent to have contested the election as the vice president candidate of the second respondent. It is specifically pleaded in paragraph 17 of the petition as follows. Your petitioner states that the first respondent was not qualified to jointly contest with the third respondent for the presidential election held on 26 February 2023, having been purportedly nominated by the second respondent as its candidate for more than one office. The specific reasons for questioning the qualification of the third respondent have been pleaded in paragraphs 16.1 and 2 of the petition as follows. Those paragraphs have been reproduced. If you get the judgment, you will see it there. So a combined reading of paragraphs 16, 16, and 17 of the petition, coupled with the particulars thereof, show clearly that the petition is premised on non-qualification of the fourth respondent. I find it necessary to state that the grounds for questioning the return at an election are stipulated in Section 135, Subsection 1 of the Electoral Act. That has been introduced earlier. It is the ground stipulated in Section 134(1)(a). That they are not qualified to have contested the state presidential election. I consider paragraphs 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 26, and 28 as relevant